Have you ever heard a mix that was so good, you wish you could just break down the door of a studio as track that and take a peek at the session? Okay, maybe not all that, but you feel like you just about do anything so you could get your hands on those files or see the notes from the tracking situation. Literally anything. Because deep down, no matter how good we become, we always feel like there's a step that's stopping us from getting to the next stage, or that we need to know the one thing that will give us the edge over our peers. Well, look no further, my friends, because by the end of this episode, you'll know the top 5 secrets I have stolen from mixers and producers to utilize in my workflow. So what's happening, fam? Miami here, but today you can just call me the JS Thief. Hydro presets, Hydro wife, because I'm biting everybody out here. This one's gonna be filled with goodies and what I consider to be the most important things I've come across from the big dogs. And let's face it, why go through a million forums and watch 100 different hour-long videos when I'm gonna give you the lowdown in 10 minutes or less? Side note, Colton Vance, one of our watchers, he has complained that my lights have not worked for the last couple of months. I went and bought batteries and they're the wrong batteries. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna fix that for you, just for you, Colton. I was joking about breaking into people's studios earlier, by the way. That thought should never cross your mind. Come on. But I didn't say anything about myself. 4 digits, come on. I keep pushing this red button, and hopefully you do the same by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and like button if you're enjoying this video. My transition game is still crazy. Mask hair. Okay, since that didn't work, I'll have to go just off of memory. Coming in at number 1, Manny Marroquin, the dual bus comp trick. So through the grapevine, I had heard about this one, and it's verified in a Pensado's Place episode, but Manny Marroquin will have his mix going to 2 separate bus compressors and change them at different points in the song. And I had never heard of someone doing this at a point, but it made me realize something. You can get extremely interesting character by using a different bus comp on the bridge, or even just on the choruses to make the song push and pull in a unique way at different parts. I would sometimes listen to his tracks and wonder why it sounded like a section of the song would be pulling me into a completely different world. Well, it makes sense. That's exactly what it was doing.
Now we're standing on the front porch, screaming at the front door. Lies to yourself, always slip through the floorboards. I was the match that lit your torch. I was the match that lit your torch. My heart's bleeding on the shelf, and the damage has been done. I hope you had your fun. I hope you had your fun. My heart's bleeding on the shelf, and the damage has been done. I hope you had your fun. I hope you had your fun.
Coming in at number 2, Chris Lord Algae's Actual Bus. Now, this is one I have good confirmation on, but it's also mentioned in some scattered places throughout the internet. People always wonder why it is that they're not able to get the Chris Lord Algae sound in the box when it would make sense that you should be able to get pretty close. I mean, between his CLA plugin series, the mix bus thing they have now, it shouldn't be that hard. But what people don't realize is you're not going to be able to copy him one-to-one because that's not all that he's using. Chris Lord Algae also has Pultex in his chain, as well as a Shadow Hills master bus compressor at the end. So since he's mixing into that, just realize you're never going to get a similar low end without adding something equivalent in the box. And I just wanted to point this out because tons of people are always chasing this sound. You know, he's one of the greatest in the world, but they don't fully understand everything that's going into it. Another little half tip, Dan Korneff mixes into these exact same Clark Technics that are on my desk. So, you know, I guess it's popular doing that into the Pultec thing. I'm sure you've seen some people give some not so positive reviews, but I think they're amazing. If they're good enough for Dan Korneff, they're good enough for me.
You're catching feelings and it's not fair. I saw you running through my nightmares. Who would've knew you'd be my worst fear? Yeah, thanks to you, I can see clear. Now we're standing on the front porch, screaming at the front door. Lies to yourself, always slip through the floorboards. I was the match that lit your torch. I was the match that lit your torch. My heart's bleeding on the shelf, and the damage has been done. I hope you had your fun. I hope you had your fun. My heart's bleeding on the shelf, and the damage has been done. I hope you had your fun.
Something about that Pultec style just gets the low end right. Coming in at number 3, the bow snare bleed trick. This is one of the most important tricks for people that work with real drums. And even if you don't, at some point in your engineering or mixing career, you're gonna end up working with real drums. Even Marshmello had to do this, you know, he ended up working with a day to remember. So don't think just because you mix a specific genre that it might not happen. So let's get into it. You basically EQ your snare, then you duplicate the track, And on the duplicated track, the attack and released as fast as possible and max out the ratio, Then you high pass that to my most hated frequency, around 700 hertz, and you flip the phase. You're now phase canceling out the top end for a split second, removing the hi-hat bleed that otherwise would almost be impossible to remove. And what you leave behind are your low mids and your subs, but I would never leave my subs behind. That's why you should hit that sub button if you haven't already, because I'm always gonna be here for you. My transition game leveled up. There's a video on this on URM Academy's YouTube that you can check out if you wanna go extremely into detail with the man Bo Burchell himself. Coming in at number 4, one that I mentioned before, but you know what? It's still one of my favorite tricks, so I'm gonna say it again. But there's a reason I'm bringing it back up. The Andrew Scheps rear bus trick. This trick basically always sounds good. You take everything in your mix besides the drums and you send it to a parallel bus. You then blend in this signal with the original mix to give it some added weight and beef. Now the reason I'm bringing this back up is because in that video, a bunch of people asked why I did it slightly different than Andrew does. When he does this, he makes the parallel bus dual mono. And I'll follow suit with that, but when I'm working on metal specifically, I don't. And I've noticed that when you use it in a metal mix with wide pan guitars and vocals, it has a feeling of being a bit wider than when I use the dual mono version. Experiment with it and tell me if I'm crazy or if you think I'm right. And on to the 5th and final trick. Using fake drum rooms. So as many of you probably know, I used to work with Kyle Black back in the day, who, is known for working with acts like Paramore, Broadside, State Champs, etc. And I like to think of myself as having learned a lot and being a much better engineer today because of it. But I want to say one of the simplest things I learned from him that changed my mixing was using fake drum rooms with real drum recordings. By using fake drum rooms, it allows you to make your mix wider and give the drum tracks more character. It's pretty simple to make work if you're already sample replacing anyways. I remember hearing the before and after on drums when using this trick, and it was actually a game changer to me. Just remember, this is just for your shells, people. So let's go over all of these one more time. The dual bus comp trick, CLA's actual 2-bus, the Bo Burchell snare bleed trick, the rear bus trick, and using fake drum rooms. I'm glad I was able to compile this info for you and give it to you in a simple, digestible format. I hope with this video, I not only stole some techniques, but I also stole your hearts. As we go into the new year, make sure to utilize these tricks as they are a guaranteed way to level up your mixes and put you ahead of the rest. Are there any tricks that you'd like to add to this list? Do you think I missed something? Leave it in the comments below and we'll talk about it. I'll catch up with you guys next time. If you're an engineer on the come up, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, you only have to do it one time. And tap that bell for notifications so when a video drops, you know the location. Until next time, I am out of here. Mic drop, except as engineers know, I'd never really drop this thing, because that get really expensive, even if it is a piece of shirt. Later, that was a close one, that almost happened. Peace.